Okay, welcome to this video. We're going to walk through the syllabus for the course and just give you an overview of what's to come so we don't have to waste time on the first day going over stuff like this. So my name is Kevin Markle. I'll be teaching sections 2, 4, and 5, and then Dan Rogozinski will be teaching sections 1 and 3. However, we are viewing this as one course being taught in 5 sections, so everything will be coordinated. We will have one learn site. All exams will be common, all assignments will be common. So hopefully that will work out for everybody, and we'll stay in complete sync. I'll leave most of this of the syllabus for you to read. It is posted on the Learn site in PDF, so if you want to have it there, or you can just go through this video a few times and you'll be able to read it all. But I'm going to leave things like the objective to you. I'm going to highlight the things that I think are going to be different. And the first thing is that we are going to take a fairly high-tech approach to this course, something of an experiment that I hope you will have fun with, as we've had fun already putting it together, and we think we're onto some pretty exciting things here. So what that means is we're going to view this as something of a new way of doing things. In the old days, we used to kind of think about class as the only time that professors and students really interacted all that much. And you were sort of sent out on your own for the rest of the week to read and do problems, and then we'd get together and try to cram as much into a little 90-minute period as we could. Well, technology lets us move a lot of things around, and lets us hopefully maximize our time and do things really efficiently. So as you're already experiencing, I hope, with this video, we're going to use these videos quite a bit. We are going to move what I consider pure lecture, out of the class time, and we'll use class time for things that are better suited for us being together, which is mostly problem solving and introduction of new concepts and drilling of things to help us all get a more sure foundation, rather than trying to memorize and regurgitate when we're together. So we're going to put up these videos before every class that some of them will be distilling textbook reading and other issues, other concepps, and others will be walking through problems to help you to start to practice, because tax is a language of, well, it's a language in and of itself, and so we need to learn to speak that language, and like any language, you learn by practicing. And so there will be a lot of problems to be done in this class, but it's all really part of the learning. Important to note, though, that these videos are required. So this is not something supplemental that we're adding on top of an old style class and seeing, letting you use it as much as you want. The expectation is that you will be watching these things and digesting these things just as much as the expectation is that you'll be reading the textbook and doing the problems that are assigned. So the expectations are at that same level. To try to get around some of the negatives of this, because it's not perfect, obviously this is not, moving things online is not going to solve all of our problems, and indeed it's going to create new ones. And obviously it's a problem when we can't see your faces and you can't raise your hand. We can't assess how much you're getting and not getting. And so to do that, what we're going to do is have a quiz. And these are not going to count in your grade directly. They're purely feedback for you, for the professors, and for your classmates. And so it's really important, because essentially what this is the point in the old style lecture where the professor stops and says, does anybody have any questions? Is everybody clear? And of course most people sit back and go, yeah, I'm clear, because we don't want to say anything. We don't want to acknowledge that we actually are not keeping up. So the fact that you can digest these videos at your own pace, that's great. But we also want to have an assessment of how much we're actually taking in. And so we're going to put together these quizzes, and you'll be required to finish them and get them in by 6 o'clock in the morning for those who work all night on the day of the class. And that'll give us a starting point for looking at the material to say, okay, here are the places that everybody gets it, so we really don't need to talk about this anymore, or here are the places that they don't. Okay, and we'll talk more about this in class, but this is it's new, and I hope you understand what we're trying to do, and hopefully you think it's effective. If you want to communicate with us, well, you know what? I'll just let you read this stuff about communicating with us. The one thing I do want to highlight here is that we're going to use a discussion board here, and I've had a lot of different feedback from people about discussion boards. And so one thing we really want to make available is that you can post anonymously if you want to. It's entirely up to you. You can both post questions and answers anonymously. Because we don't want anybody not asking questions or participating in discussions because of any sort of concerns over reputation or the professor finding out you don't know what you're talking about, which probably most of us don't at any given time. But we know there are things that stop us. So we really want to use the discussion board, and we're going to make efforts to have that be an effective way for all of us to communicate. I'll leave the rest of this for you to read. The text for the class, most of you may have already picked it up. It is Beam, Lakin, and Barnett. It is the 32nd edition. Unfortunately, for pocketbooks, the laws are always changing, and so they put this textbook out every year with the current laws being reflected, and so you are going to want the 32nd edition. We're making the Income Tax Act optional, so it is optional. You will have access to an internet version, and that's the way most people are going these days. But if you are someone who likes hard copies of things, then by all means buy it, and you'll get good use out of it. But we didn't want to force people to buy it. I'll leave you to look at the evaluation of your class. It's not too much out of the ordinary. However, the one thing I do want to talk about is contribution. Often referred to as participation in a lot of classes. And you can see there are two portions to it in our class, the in-class and the out-of-class, with the in-class being 10% and the out-of-class being 5%. So we're not going way off the beaten path here. In-class participation is it's one of these things that is problematic in a lot of classes, and we're going to do our best to make it clear exactly what you have to do in order to make positive contributions. But the bottom line is I think most people know what you need to do to make positive contributions. It's just like if you're on any team or working in any group or anything, the difference between a positive and a negative contribution is really not that mysterious. But we'll talk about this a little bit more, as well as the out-of-class portion and what's expected. But really, you go to the Learn site and you'll find these rubrics that we have there, and that's exactly how you will be graded at the end of the term. And so you can look there and see what's expected. We'll talk about the assignments as they get closer. We'll talk about the exams as they get closer. We're going to do a really cool thing, in my opinion, very cool thing in this course. We're going to run the tutorials online. And so we'll talk lots more about this and get you up to speed on how this is going to work. But we literally mean this. You can be at any computer in the world that's connected to the internet, and you can attend these tutorials. You just need to have sound, and if you want to participate by saying things, then you need to have a microphone. But for the most part, people will just attend them, and you can listen. You can chat in questions. We're going to show you the technology, and it's really, really neat. And so we'll talk more about that. But we're pretty excited about this. Very important issue to us as instructors is academic integrity. Your third-year students, you understand, I think, and you're expected to know exactly where the line between cheating and not cheating is. And so I would just leave it to you to say, to stay on the right side of that line. And if you don't, we take it incredibly seriously, and we will impose maximum penalties. So just, end of the story here, don't cheat. So here's the schedule, and I will leave it, most of this, I won't talk about the topics right here. All I want to do is make sure that you can read it. It's pretty straightforward. We've got a date, and we've got the general idea of what we're talking about that week. And then the readings come from the textbook, except for in a few places where it's indicated with an S, there will be something posted online for you to read instead. Exercises are for you to do, and there are solutions available to those. And then the problems are the things that you do not have solutions to. We'll talk about in class, and will be the backbone of what we learn, and therefore what will be examined. Another important thing to note, or something I'm very excited about, is that something's happening around campus the end of May, and so we are going to actually run 2 of our classes online using the exact same technology that's going to be used for the tutorials. We're going to run those online. So for that week, for both the Tuesday and the Thursday at the end of May, the 29th and the 31st, I don't know what's going to be happening in your other classes, but for our class, you will just be sitting at a computer connected to the internet to attend class that day, and we'll talk lots more about that to make sure that it's a seamless operation. Okay.